It's time for
DodgerHeads.
high fly ball into right field. Dodgers have won it all in 2020. Shohei Ohtani, 50-50 club. Strikes him out. There's a drive. Shohei Ohtani. Freeman hits the ball. She is gone. Birthday party, Los Angeles. Your Dodgers have won the World Series.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into DodgerHeads Unplugged with Scotty G, presented by DodgerBlue.com. It's great to have you in here. Happy Wednesday, happy Tuesday, happy Victory Tuesday here on DodgerHeads Unplugged. It's great to have you. If you're doing me a favor, I would appreciate everybody. Hit that sub button, hit that like button. We're going to have a good time today. I got a special guest on here to the tier ones. It's great to have you in here. Tyler, shout out to you, man. Brewers coming. I got you. We'll see you there. Everybody. Dodgers take a 2-0 lead in the National League Division Series over the Philadelphia Phillies. They go into Citizens Bank Park and prove the bank is not as loud as everybody up there thinks. The Dodgers do exactly what needs to be done. They quieted that offense there, the Philadelphia Phillies offense that went into the postseason playing as good as almost anybody. The starting pitchers have a terrific plan. The bullpen, we'll talk bullpen. We'll talk Mookie Betts and the baseball IQ of everybody in the collective Dodgers unit won them a ball game. So with what the Dodgers have cooking, I'm really loving what I saw there. And I'm going to bring up a question that we had asked on yesterday's show, that when we got to the fourth inning, how would we feel? We're going to rehash that. I really want to talk about it. We're going to go through, and really break down everything that I like, the things that we, of course, didn't like. And there's going to be stuff that I'm sure, chat, you don't like either. But there's a lot to love going into Game 3 back at Dodger Stadium, up 2-0, where the Dodgers have an unreal statistical and mathematical advantage over the Philadelphia Phillies now in winning the series here. So today, it's great to have you in, everybody, to the tier ones. We're going to let everybody trickle in here. It's good to have you. Happy Tuesday. This is we called it a Battle of the Titans. I called it a Battle of the Titans. And this is a series where the starting pitching is doing unbelievable work. If you're a fan of low-scoring ball games, if you're a fan of quick 1-2-3s, this is the series for you. I know I'm a big fan of pitching. My guest is a big fan of pitching. And when there's incredible talent across the other side of the field, you just look at it and you say, damn, they're cooking. There's nothing you can do when Christopher Sanchez is shoving. Offensive players are going to give that credit after the game. We'll see it too. And then you look across and Jesus Luzardo settles in after we said they can't let it happen. And then he starts cooking. We appreciate that too. But the Dodgers have Blake Snell. The Dodgers have Shohei Ohtani doing their thing. And it's been a damn good series so far. But what happens is when you crack the door open for the Dodgers, they're going to kick it down. And they've done that twice. And the Philadelphia Phillies are in an 0-2 hole because of it. But right now, I'm going to bring on a guest of mine. It's good to have him in here. We're going to let him ride. Jacob Brownson.
Scott, what's up, chat? How we doing?
It's good to see you, buddy. How we feeling now? So Dodgers up 2-0 on this series.
Yeah.
It's really a pleasure to have you on, man. I know you've been keeping close tabs on this. It's great to have you. I appreciate you joining me. The chat loves you. I know they do. So give me your quick thoughts. You can go game 1, game 2. I want you to give me your overall thoughts here, following game 2.
Starting pitching has been great all around. Like you said, big fan of pitching. You're a big fan of pitching. You kind of explained it perfectly with Luzardo. It's very frustrating to watch, but he was very good. Eventually, the boys made an adjustment. The team's got some energy. The bats are hitting. The starting pitchers are getting outs. Could not feel better. Teams are 31-3 when taking a 2-0 lead on the road in the NLDS. So I like where the Dodgers are at.
Yeah, so let's go immediately to Blake Snell. Let's immediately go there. Let's talk game 2.
Let's do it.
Blake Snell, he comes out and he's got – I had just had it up here. Where's my notes? Blake Snell's got 23 whiffs on the night. Seemingly everything is cooking. From start to finish, the game plan against Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, and Bryce Harper was executed to a T. especially with the top three, Jacob. What are some things that you loved with Blake Snell and how he attacked that trio right at the top?
Yeah, he wasn't pitching afraid. I feel like I remember a count where I think he fell behind 2-0 to one of those guys, and I'm pretty sure he challenged him with a fastball. I could be wrong. I'm gonna go back and look at that bats, but he wasn't afraid to go at those guys. I loved how he executed against Harper in that 6th inning. He threw strikes, and then he wasn't afraid to throw the slider in a 2-2 count where you throw a ball there. Now you're in some trouble, 3-2 in that situation. But he executed a slider, threw a perfect slider that you really can't take, and took care of business. It felt like he was going after those guys in a smart way. He wasn't just throwing Kyle Schwarber 98 right down the middle. He was executing against them and willing to use his entire arsenal to go and get those guys. Like, for example, he attacked the lefties with fastball, sliders, and curveballs, and then he threw Trey Turner 4 straight changeups. So just the way they blended things, I thought the game plan against those guys was amazing, and they really he took care of business.
Yeah, and it's just, I know somebody brought it up in chat right here, back to back, and I appreciate you bringing this up here. The at bat with Trey Turner, where it was, goes 2 changeups, Trey Turner straight out in front, and then he goes back to the well 2 more times. He quadded up on the changes, and gets Trey Turner to punch out in a big spot. It felt like he had him in a rocking chair all night. And I love the fact that my mom always brings it up. She says Blake Snell's face looks like he's ready to fall asleep. And for hitters, standing at the plate against him, Jacob, that's what Blake Snell does. He's going to put you out there, long windup, tall dude, big over the top. Like, he's got a certain arm slot that, stuff falls from the sky. Fastball command looked amazing. His slider was electric. And that was a pitch for me. We highlighted that against the lefties. It was going to be a lot of sliders. It was going to be a lot of sliders. You're going to do a lot of fastball stuff, manipulate it there. And against Kyle Schwarber, I love that they didn't just shy away. They went strength on strength. They forced him to dive out of the zone. And against Bryce Harper, too. Bryce Harper, with Kyle Schwarber, he got an extra at bat. Because when they sent, in that inning there, they had the hit and run going on, or not the hit and run. They had him steal there, gets picked off, Brandon Marsh, and it gives Kyle Schwarber just an extra look. And going back out there, I said, he just got an extra at bat. I don't know how much I would have wanted the pickoff instead of just putting Schwarber down there. But it just felt, Jacob, that the game plan was executed to a T. Blake Snell did not shy away. He went strength on strength there, and once again holds down the top 3 of the Philadelphia Phillies.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think just the way that they blended what they gave those guys to, for example, was fantastic. Like Kyle Schwarber, I think he saw a lot of fastballs. That last Harper at bat, he went slider, 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 curveball, slider to strike him out. 5 sliders and a curveball. Took advantage of his aggressiveness. Mixed in well, so those guys had no idea what was coming. And if Blake Snell can keep you off balance, you're in trouble with the stuff he has and the way he disguises those pitches.
Yeah, Blake Snell, again, what he's doing right now, he's on some run it's just unbelievable. And shout out to Sonja Chen for her article last night about Blake Snell. With Blake Snell specifically, it marked the second time. So credit to her for posting this stat. Appreciate this here. Blake Snell, his start last night marked the second time in Dodgers postseason franchise history. Dodgers recorded a scoreless start of at least 6 innings with 1 or no hits allowed. The last was Walker Buehler in Game 1 of the 2019 NLDS. That I was at that game, and I remember that because I was at a lot of Walker Buehler big time starts. So that specific game, Blake Snell joins elite company, and Blake Snell has just been exactly that. He's been elite, and through 4, he has 4 career postseason outings with 9+ strikeouts with no more than 1 hit allowed. No more than 2 hits allowed, the most by any pitcher in MLB postseason history. So he has been everything as advertised. For me, he is a game 1 guy. Like I know we've got Ohtani going Game 1 in the DS here, but Blake Snell is everything a Game 1 guy. And Shelley says it right here. Keep the foot on the gas. With Blake Snell specifically, to wrap up talking about him, we saw Dave Roberts in the wild card round with Blake Snell have a conversation on the mound. In that 6th inning, Blake Snell seemed to get behind a few hitters there. Did you have any problem with Dave Roberts not going out to the mound? I had no problem with that. But as far as not going out to the mound, but also letting him stay on the mound against Alec Boehm and going out there and wrap up his job there, you were all good with everything.
Yeah, because you saw it. I forgot what start it was late in the regular season. Dave went out there, talked to him, Snell was motioning to Dave to stay in the dugout. All that stuff happened. He got out of it, got a big yell, proved that he could do it. He's done it multiple times this year. I think it's something that I think a lot of people the last couple of years have kind of complained about with Dave Roberts, is not letting his guys get out of those spots and trusting his starting pitchers. But I think this year, one, the starting pitchers can go deeper into games. They're as good as they've been ever for the Dodgers, really. And two, there's not a lot of trust in the bullpen. So I think those things combined, I'm absolutely for writing out the starters as much as you possibly can, especially a guy like Blake Snell, who's shown multiple times this year that he thrives in those spots.
Yeah, Rosemary with the super chat here. She says, remember when we signed Blake Snell and people were mad because it wasn't Max Fried? LOL, besides the injury, he's killing it when it matters. Yeah, he is. He's doing everything the Dodgers ask of him. He's going out there. He's competing. This is what Blake Snell wants. He wants to be out there. He wants the spotlight. He is not shying away from the biggest spots. And I love the fact that in his post games, he is looking around the room. And he did this with Clayton Kershaw. He's looking around the room. He's soaking up all the experience from everybody in that room. And it just right now, Jacob, feels like the Dodgers have a collective think tank with a bunch of, we know they have elite talent, but they're feeding off each other and they're working off each other. And that's where right now it's the culmination of all of that marrying throughout the regular season. And we're seeing it this is their 100th percentile outcome, Jacob, with the starting pitching. This is where they've hoped for years, that they have this collection at the beginning of the year. And then throughout the year, guys start to fall down. And right now they're standing up. And this is where Dave Roberts is able to deploy them however he wants. And with Blake Snell in particular, this is someone that has no fear on the mound. He's going to go right after you. And he has no issue facing the superstar, the elites around Major League Baseball. Just speak to exactly that and how his pedigree can handle, some of these top bats, especially, the MVP runner-up in Kyle Schwarber. Just speak to that for me.
Yeah, Blake Snell knows how to pitch, and he has the stuff to get anyone out. So those two combined it's just deadly, especially for a guy like him. Just the way he knows when he should attack the zone and shouldn't attack the zone. Like they were obviously pitching around Schwarber there in that 6th inning because they knew the damage he could do. I think they felt better with Bryce Harper, which feels a little weird to say, but I think that's the truth. Just the way he approaches each start, the way he calls his own pitches, pulls that card out. You can tell this is a guy who knows how to pitch. It's like, it feels like a weird comparison to make, but Clayton Kershaw knows how to pitch. Right now, his stuff isn't where it used to be. Blake Snell knows how to pitch, and his stuff is fantastic. Now, he's not prime Clayton Kershaw, but it's a decent comparison for how he knows how to get guys out. He knows who he should go after, who he shouldn't go after. And when he's in the strike zone, he's one of the best pitchers in Major League Baseball, easily.
Yeah, I totally agree. Rosemary, appreciate this comment here. Yeah, Jacob, I totally agree with you. I'm going to put this up here real quick. I understand going on here, Brandon. It's good to see you, man. He said, would be nice if Snell used the fastball a bit more with 2 strikes. Seemed like he got ahead early, each of the 4 walks, but tried to get the Phillies to chase, and it just didn't happen. Just nitpicking. I get what you're saying here fully. Yeah, Blake Snell, the book is with him is that he's going to try to go outside of the zone, get you chase a bunch. I don't think Blake Snell his fastball was working. He was putting in really good spots, mainly down and in. His thing was cooking down and in and working inner half. And I think that he just, in those big spots, he said he needed a chase, especially later in the game there when he was speaking to at the very end where he got Alec Boehm to ground out. He said, quote, I needed weak contact. I knew I was going to have to attack him somewhere he could hit, but I felt confident with the slider. And we felt that. It was maybe the fastball he just didn't feel in that moment. The curveball, he didn't have much success, but it was mainly with the slider. And he said he rode that and the at-bat against him and ended up winning the AB. So ultimately, he went with the stuff that was working, and I appreciate that. Didn't try to force himself into something, and that's where the strength of calling your own game and having a feel for your own self right there and betting on yourself with what Blake Snell did is that's why I'm just very impressed with what he was able to do. Yesterday was just a masterclass from him in knowing what you've got and going deep into a game against a top offense there. Jonathan says, hi, Scott. Too late to sign Danny Duffy for the pen. Yeah, Jonathan with this running bit, man. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate the support. Jack Garner says, yeah, had tickets for Game 6 of the World Series last year. I have tickets to Game 4 of the DS, praying for the same outcome. Yeah, there you go. Don't have to use them. Let's not. Wrap it up at home. Speaking of Game 2, now with the pendulum swung, essentially 90% of, according to the mathematics, with how teams have won Game 2 and especially going on the road. This for the Phillies now is in, their game was on the line yesterday. Their season was on the line yesterday. Now with Aaron Nola announced, looking ahead, the Phillies really saw their season flash right in front of them.
Yeah, the Phillies are in trouble. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. You're coming to the Ravine and facing Yoshinobu Yamamoto, and then you're facing Tyler Glasnow. And then if you somehow get through those two, you're facing Ohtani with Blake Snell available. Mm-hmm. Like, the Phillies are in some trouble. Obviously, the series isn't over. They're going to go Suarez and Nola, or Nola and Suarez. They have the roster to compete in this series and make things interesting, but they look dead. Red October looks like dead October right now. Their lineup has been pretty weak. The bullpen has not been good. And Aaron Nola has, I think it's like a 6 ERA in his last 10 starts or something like that. So everything is in the direction of the Dodgers, but the game is played on the field. Obviously, the Dodgers should win the series. Hopefully they will. But business still needs to be taken care of.
So I really want to talk. I agree with you. And we're going to go. I just want to give some flowers to what Teoscar Hernandez. We're going to talk Dave in a second. We're going to talk to Blake Trinan. But I want to talk Teoscar Hernandez, who's gotten a lot of flack, and rightfully so. Different times where some hustle would definitely change the outcome of some games, take a lot of pressure off the pitching, take a lot of pressure off defense and stuff like that. We understand that. He knows it. Teoscar Hernandez has had hustle at different parts, up 4-0, trying to leg out a double. Didn't work out. I didn't mind the hustle there. I know some people did. I didn't mind him pushing that because it takes two perfect elements to have that happen. Stretching that out, it's got to be perfect throw, perfect tag. Things just happen. You want to dice up the replay, however, but I was good with it. With Teoscar Hernandez, especially, Jacob, this is a guy who is wielding one of the hottest bats I've seen. He's got a 1357 OPS here in the division series. He's 3 for 7, impact stuff, 3 RBI, added a homer, walk in there, and just bat to ball right now with him. Latter game has been something that is very special. And that's why you sign a guy like this. Postseason as a whole right now, he's got a 1444 OPS, 3 homers, 9 RBI, and against a lefty, you're putting him in the 3 spot. And you know that if you make a mistake, he's going to bang it. It's just, for me now, it might early on, it might look pretty bad. But his first inning AB was great. But everybody after the first inning yesterday decided to forget how to hit and then forgot the assignment, because Luzardo goes 24 pitches, I believe, in the first inning. And then he just decided to cruise. But with Teoscar especially, I've just found it very impressive the way he's able to, in those big spots, lower the heartbeat, remember where you're at, remember the spot, and have a knack for just getting bat on ball, driving something, and getting something started.
Yeah, I've learned not to say bad things about Teoscar Hernandez when one of those hustle moments happens, because he's going to come back late in the game and get a big hit a homer. I tweeted something back on, I think it was March 27th. It was like, every time I get frustrated with Teoscar Hernandez striking out or not hustling, he hits a big homer to shut me up. And it literally happens every single time. It happened in Game 1. I refrained from commenting on the hustle on the ball hit back to Luzardo on Game 2, and he got a big hit later that game.
Yeah.
Teoscar Hernandez is always going to come up clutch. It doesn't matter if this regular season was a disappointment, if he struck out 3 times in a game. He's going to meet the moment. He's playoff Kike if Kike was a little better in the regular season and wasn't a very good defender. I mean, that's who Teoscar Hernandez is. No moment's too big for him, and he's going to deliver time and time again.
Yeah, and that at bat, particularly in the top of the 7th inning against Luzardo, 6-pitch AB. Luzardo goes change, sweep, four seam, change up, and then on the 6th pitch he goes change up, a little bit elevated, bangs a single to center field, gets it started up there. Freddie Freeman right after that, and it's not that I expected him to go to the bullpen there because it's lefty on left. Freddie Freeman is one of the most professional hitter you're going to find in the league. Rob Thompson keeping him in there. Bangs a double. That's it. And then Tommy Edman K's tough series for Tom. And then Kike Hernandez comes in. I think it was 97 on the hands. Kike puts it in play and Teoscar breaks. And I know that it wasn't the best, but Kike it wasn't the weakest dribbler in the world because it was a close enough play. And Trey Turner makes a throw to the arm side of JT Realmuto. Slow tag, Teoscar guns it, makes a great slide, outer half of the dish, gets the toe down. That was the thing I was looking at on the replay, was his toe down. He made a great play, got a solid jump there, burnered it home, gives the Dodgers a 1-run lead. And that's the hustle we're talking about. That's where later in the game, he makes something happen, gets it started up there. And it's just that little bit to just pass the baton. Don't try to do too much because his at-bats against Christopher Sanchez looked really bad. But with Teoscar Hernandez there against Luzardo, later game, figured it out, got some started up. So I'm going to give him his flowers there to be able to go out there and stay on time, stay on balance, and get that started up there. And then from there, the run scoring began. I'm very impressed with Freddie Freeman, what he had there. And then you're pushing it to everybody else. Will Smith comes in. What a weapon. With Will Smith, Jacob, I tweeted out that, what type of weapon it is for Dave Roberts to have Will Smith just on the bench, Max Muncy off the bench. Will Smith goes up there, first pitch, outer half. Orion Kerkering did try to get a little cute, getting a sweeper over there, and Will Smith banged it into left center field. 2 runs scored. Speak to Will Smith for me real quick.
I mean, just an ultimate hitter. If I went up there facing a guy named Orion, I'd be terrified. I mean, that is a sick name. But I thought he might start him with a sweeper. It caught too much of the plate, and Will Smith was ready for it, which is hard to do when this is a guy that throws 98, 99. And his sweeper is a very good pitch. He's absolutely disgusting. I think if you go first pitch sweeper there, it's got to be off the plate a little bit because Will Smith's going to be ready to hit. It was great to see. I don't have the numbers in front of me. In his pinch hit appearances, he hasn't looked great. I think he struck out on 3 pitches, the other day.
He hasn't looked great. When it was in there, he looked getting himself up to speed. And it was his first AB against Sanchez where it was like, man, it's just I know you're the plus bat there, but I know exactly what you're talking about, buddy, that he was getting his feet wet in the postseason. He was getting his timing down. And I'm happy that he was able to be aggressive here. And I like what you said about the sweeper because sometimes those backed up sweepers, the shape of it's so tough to get on because you see it going inside and then you've got to give up on it because you think it's going to hit you. It's when you see it a long time is where he was able to jump on that first pitch. So keep going. My bad.
Oh, no, you're all good. But yeah, I thought the sweeper caught too much of the play. It was on the corner, but first pitch, it kind of looked like Will Smith was sitting on that, or he put a great piece of hitting together. But Will Smith was ready for it. I love that he was ready to swing first pitch in that situation. Don't let that guy get ahead with the stuff that he has. It's kind of the same approach the Dodgers were trying to do against Jesus Luzardo. Didn't necessarily work out in those middle innings, but just the maturity and ability to come in and just sit there in the batter's box and be ready for a really disgusting sweeper that caught too much of the plate and get a big hit there. It's what Will Smith has done since 2018 now.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. His pinch hit stuff there, his knack for the moment. And it was like last year. We saw second half Will Smith, again, had a little bit of a tough stretch. But we've seen him in the postseason elevate himself. He did that against the Padres. He continued to do that throughout the postseason. And heading into this one, it's not that we were all right without Will Smith. We understood where he was at. Ben Rortvedt was holding it down, the starting pitching, and the bullpen felt like they were in a decent spot. So it's that someone else elevated their game to withstand the blow of losing Will Smith. And now with Will Smith seemingly back in the mix as he continues to build up his workload here, him in the lineup is such a big piece. It can't be undersold what he does for this roster, what he does for this. And then just flashing forward one more AB. So Rob Thompson goes back to the bullpen and calls on Matt Strahm once again. So the Dodgers, again, have another look at a lefty that Rob Thompson trusts. So the Dodgers have gotten to a righty that Rob Thompson put in a big spot. And now with Matt Strahm coming in again, the Dodgers got to Matt Strahm again. Shohei Ohtani goes up there, smokes 112-mile-an-hour single to right field on a second-pitch sinker, which Ohtani has been probably the relief factor on that swing, Jacob. Probably made him feel like the world was off his shoulders, that he just needed something. I know it was just a bang single, but it was a smoke job. And now for the second time in 2 games, Rob Thompson, both of his big-time relievers have gone out there. And I would say that with Matt Strahm, I don't think he has a lefty that he trusts too much now. Ohtani getting that knock there, extending the lead to 4. Mookie Betts flies out, and then we push on. But especially with, Rob Thompson putting these same guys out there, giving the Dodgers offense a lot of looks for them. We know how that goes. When you give a team extended looks, especially the Dodgers, does not spell good for how, if this series continues.
Yeah, if Rob Thompson was my manager and I was a Phillies fan, I wouldn't be super thrilled right now. I think them only using Yohan Duran in like the 9th inning has been problematic for them. If I'm Rob Thompson, I'm down 1-0 in the series, and the Dodgers have 2nd and 3rd, no outs. Yohan Duran's coming into the game there.
Especially with the days off.
Yeah. And he was always going to pitch anyways. So, I mean, that's the biggest spot in the game right there is when they went to Kerkering. Kerkering did a good job. He struck out Edman, got a weak ground ball. That if Trey Turner makes a good throw, Teoscar's out by at least a foot.
Correct.
He did a good job, but like you have this guy who throws a 100-mile-per-hour splitter. I feel like he should be the guy that's in there in the biggest spots. And he's pitched twice down 2-3 runs. I think it was 2 in game 1, 3 this game. It's just, it's definitely questionable. And yeah, the Dodgers are getting looks at Strahm. They're getting looks at Kerkering. And now they saw like 26 pitches from Yohan Duran last night in a spot that really did not matter all that much. I think that's important, and I think it's going to come into play in game 3 and any games that might happen after that.
Yeah, man. I know the Phillies fans aren't happy with how Rob Thompson has managed this series. Dave Roberts has put on, aside from just the bullpen, aside from Blake Trinan, that stuff. Let's just get that over with real fast. I'll be fully transparent with everybody. I believe Dave Roberts tried to give Blake Trinan, a soft landing spot in the 9th inning there to give him a positive. Blake Trinan, for his numbers that he put up in September in the second half of the year, there's no business for him being on a postseason roster. It just has everything to do with what he's done in the past, what he's done prior and, last postseason, and Dave Roberts' trust in the man. But because the numbers just don't do it, I'm not going to go too in depth with it because I know Blake and Daniel went in last night and that was a very spirited post-game show there. But with Blake Trinan specifically, that was Dave Roberts trying to give a vet that he believes in a moment. I don't believe he'll do it again. He's fortunate that Blake Trinan, that implosion there didn't cost him the game. For my money, I would believe that if Dave Roberts could take it all back, he would have gone directly to Sasaki or just left Emmett Sheehan in. And he should have done that. He could have done that. Sasaki was the clear go-to, but Emmett Sheehan could have finished that game out. I don't want to go too much into Blake Trinan because people are a little too profanity ridden with how they're going at Blake Trinan and stuff like that. Let's keep it a buck, everybody. But with what I think Blake Trinan, Dave Roberts, I don't think he's going to go back to him in that big spot.
No, you won't see that again. I do want to address, someone said that I was fine with the move and tried to blame Blake instead of Dave. I would have put Roki Sasaki in the game. I posted that before it happened. But Blake Trinan deserves some blame for getting 3 righties who struggle with sweepers and letting all 3 of them reach base.
Agreed.
That's where I was coming from. Like, no, Blake Trinan probably shouldn't have been in that spot. But if not that spot, then like win. Like that's the most favorable matchup you're going to give him this series. I don't think he will be pitching in a high leverage spot again. I don't think he should be pitching in a high leverage spot again. I would have gone to Roki Sasaki. But at the end of the day, like Blake Trinan's got to get outs.
Yeah, flat out has to get outs there. Blake Trinan, for what it is, his ERA is in a place where the Dodgers can't feel good about it. His stuff looks very hittable. It's just not getting it done right now. There's a lot to be made of how he's throwing mechanically and stuff like that, but he's 37 years old, didn't have a good second half. Stuff isn't in a good spot, and Dave Roberts doesn't have a lot of righties he can trust. It's probably down to two. And that's how it is. I would say if Glasnow is not in the bullpen, then it's Emmett Sheehan and Roki Sasaki out in the bullpen as far as from the right-handers. So they're in a tough spot there.
Yeah, and I think like Dave is trying to find righties he can trust, and I think they kind of feel like they need another righty, and we're really hoping that could be Blake Trinan, which is why they put him in. If it was a 1-run lead, Blake Trinan wouldn't have been pitching there. He might not have been pitching if it was a 2-run lead. He shouldn't have been with a 3-run lead. But I think they're trying to find another righty that they can trust. And in that spot, like those were favorable matchups for Blake Trinan.
Big time.
And he couldn't deliver. And the Dodgers are going to take that into account in other bullpen decisions the rest of the series.
Yeah. But aside from that, Vesia held it down. And Roki Sasaki came in and got Trey Turner out on 2 pitches. He executed the fastball perfectly. Splitter missed, and if he wasn't going to go back to another split, then he put the fastball in a good spot where Trey couldn't extend a barrel, grounder second. Tommy Edman short hops the throw there. Like we see Tommy Edman short arm every throw. This one, it's like I've been saying that it looks like Tommy Edman forgot where he was at on the field and decided to short arm the throw. But Freddie Freeman saves the bacon, saves the game. Dodgers escape with a 2-0 lead, take 2 in Philadelphia. And that's how it goes. And that's flat out how it goes. So I'm happy about that. Good breakdown of that game, because that was one where there were a lot of elements to it. It felt like one of the best baseball postseason games maybe I've watched in quite some time. Like last year, we know with 2024, but as far as like a top 5, it definitely feels like that one was in there from every perspective that I could have it. I want to talk about Mookie Betts and Dave Roberts, the baseball IQ, if you've got a little bit of time to go through it. Good to go?
Yeah, let's talk about it.
So let's talk about the wheel play. Let's talk about the 9th inning, and especially that after fact and in the post-game pressers, Freddie Freeman, Dave Roberts, with how they handled the traffic there in the 9th inning. After Blake Trinan comes out, we're going to paint the scene. So on second base, Nick Castellanos is out there. We're in a 4-3 ball game. Bryson Stott coming up to the plate, Alex Vesia coming in. In post-game, the Dodgers talked about the wheel play that went on there. And I appreciate Blake for sending me the quotes here. Shout out to you, man. Blake Williams, the best. My right-hand man with send me all this stuff.
Blake.
Yeah, and providing me with the quotes, all the stuff that matters. Dave Roberts, seemingly called to play. Mookie passed the word along to Freddie Freeman and Max Muncy. And Freddie Freeman, after the fact, in post-game says, the quote about Mookie Betts and Max Muncy say, this is from Freddie, says the conversation during that, obviously, this was in the pitching change, says if we run the wheel play, that means no one is at second base. Freddie said, that's when I chimed in. If he bunts to third base, Max, you throw to Mookie, Tommy goes to first, I'll sprint to second. And that's why you saw me running to second base. We're coming up with a plan on the wheel play to make sure he couldn't go home to second, and they pulled it off perfectly. And something that's going to get lost in the mix is that wasn't on the first pitch of the AB. And that was some of the most beautiful baseball I've seen. And that was executed perfectly, because on the first pitch, Alex Vesia throws a slider that misses high. And on the sky cam view, you see on that, the Dodgers tip their hand completely. And I don't know if Nick Castellanos he was so dead set on, this is what we're doing, I need to get to third base. But the Dodgers tipped their hand. And I know I'm not going to act like I know more than these guys, but it felt like Castellanos could and should have broke with Mookie Betts
Yes.
That, or if he sees he has a breakout in front of him, you halt at second base, concede the out, and you stay in scoring position. Next pitch, Bryson Stott gets the bunt down. Muncie's in a perfect spot. He turns and doesn't just wait for Mookie to get to the bag. Muncie fires to the spot. Mookie Betts takes a hard slide. Yep, Muncie fires to the spot. Catch tag, gets drilled there at third by Castellanos. 1 out. Lead runner is now back at first base, and the Dodgers are in business with a chance to save this game. Speak to the wheel play and how they executed that perfectly, man, because that was some of the best baseball IQ from Dave, who passed the word along to Mookie, who passed the word along to everybody else.
Yeah, it was a mix of just beautiful baseball and Castellanos kind of giving the Dodgers some help there. I don't know if he's safe if he gets a better jump, but as far as the wheel play is concerned, it was just textbook. Having your shortstop cover and having an athletic shortstop like Mookie who can get to third, catch the ball, get that tag down. And the play by Muncie, I think, is almost as impressive, maybe even more impressive, because he sprints in, picks it up, and immediately turns around and fires to third. And the trust that Mookie was going to be there and be in that spot goes a long way, especially because Dave, I believe, said that they don't even work on the wheel play in practice at all. And then just the awareness by Freddie Freeman to make sure someone was at second, just to be sure. Tommy Edman at first. I mean, you're taught to bunt the ball to third base. Stott did his job. It was just better. The Dodgers executed better. Castellanos should have been running with Mookie. He did not get enough of a secondary lead at all. Mookie Betts was multiple feet in front of him, and I think that definitely benefited the Dodgers. But those are the fundamental things that win you baseball games. If it's a Dodger on second base, they probably are doing what they should be doing. Castellanos probably could have made that play closer.
Yeah,
but it was just beautifully executed by.
It was textbook. It was textbook as good as it gets there. And I'm going to give Mookie Betts, ultimately the credit there for kind of quarterbacking that. And a good buddy of mine, Brandon. So shout out to Brandon if he's tuning in here. Yeah, Mookie Betts, called an audible at the line of scrimmage and made this thing all happen. And I love that line because Freddie Freeman gave Mookie his flowers in credit in the post game about Mookie's ability to, going from right field, second base, shortstop, and ultimately now turning himself into one of the most valuable defensive shortstops in Major League Baseball. And having his baseball IQ and seemingly doing everything and understanding that this is a spot where this is where you implement the wheel play. This is where you do it. And Rob Thompson credited the Dodgers and credited Mookie with disguising the wheel play. And he did a little bit. But on that second attempt, the one they got it down, Mookie Betts, exactly what you said. Trust. Muncie had a trust he would get to the spot. He did that. He was in the perfect play. And Marcus Lynn Betts is everything is advertised. He is that superstar player you can count on, not only offensively, defensively, but with the mind. And in those big moments, don't forget where you're at on the field. Don't forget the moment. And Mookie Betts' internal clock is as good as it gets. Yeah. So I wanted to make sure I take this segment and provide, Mookie Betts and Dave Roberts kind of with the trust that his players can go do that he has these vets here for a reason. And I want to speak on Freddie Freeman's quote on Mookie Betts. He says, quote, "I hope everyone realizes how hard it is to switch positions. Then you do it at an elite level that Mookie has done this year." We're talking about doing a wheel play a couple of weeks ago in a certain situation as well. That's when Freddie Freeman speaking to when Rojas called that against, I believe, the Angels, and they implemented it there. But Freddie Freeman, back to a quote, he says, "So that's been on our mind and kind of bring that out in the final situation, and that was the perfect time to do it." Nick Castellanos, obviously not Trey Turner running, so we had a better chance of that. That's why we were gung-ho on the wheel play, and obviously Mookie and Max, and everyone just confident in pulling it off. Everything was just perfect on that play, end quote. So Freddie Freeman, again, had multiple defensive plays there, and with Mookie Betts sprinting to third base, beating Castellanos to the bag, after you just got punched in the mouth twice. You allowed 2 earned runs there in the 9th, up by 1. You've got to get this runner out. It was perfect stuff. So as a baseball fan and as a coach of, softball coach, baseball coach, seeing that executed at the highest level and to have them break that down, it was a thing of beauty, man. And it can't say enough about it. It's those moments that save a season and make World Series teams. And those are the best of the best there. So not enough can be said about Mookie Betts there, Max Muncy, Freddie Freeman, and Dave in that ninth inning.
Yeah. Were there people doubting Mookie Betts at short? I don't seem to recall that.
Not a one. People saying that Mookie Betts was washed at shortstop, that he was the worst contract in ball, that he would never hit again unless he went back out to right field.
Yeah, and how about his bat in the playoffs too? He big hits,
stalwart.
He's come up clutch. While we're talking about ninth inning defense, I also want to give Freddie Freeman his flowers. Everyone knows about the pick, but also that play to get the second out, ranging to his right and making the throw to second. I think that's an underrated play. That's not a super easy play, and he made the right read to go to second because who was it? Vesia probably wouldn't have gotten to first there.
Yeah.
So just the little things like that. The Dodgers played fundamental textbook baseball in the ninth, and it won them a baseball game.
And Mookie Betts getting out of the way of Weston Wilson's slide, who tried to absolutely chase Utley him there at second base. Yes. Mookie Betts pops off there and runs it up basically all the way to home. So it was just, man, that, short hop, Freddie Freeman had that work in there. A real masterclass, man. That was fun baseball to watch, defensive baseball to watch. A side of it that you expect those plays to always be made. It's only bad when you see an error happen. And that's when you're like, why didn't they make that play? But it's when you see it executed masterfully. Mookie Betts, second base, gets there, get to the bag, get the second out, come home. It was really great stuff, man. I'm enamored by it. I've watched that ninth inning, defense quite a few times already, and I can't say enough about it. And that's why after the game, all those guys had praise for each other because they know for those things all that have to work out, got to make a perfect scoop, you got to make a perfect throw, perfect tag, all those things implemented perfectly. Tommy Edmonds, just the last key piece, and that would have been a great ninth inning there. But other than that,
I mean, those are the things that win you World Series, defense like that. So just keep doing it, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no doubt. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for joining in. If you want to stick around for questions, you're welcome to. But if not, you're welcome to head out. Do you want to stick around for some questions?
I'll do whatever. If you'll have me, I got nothing else going on. So
let's do it. So everybody, all caps question. We're going to take quite a bit of you here. Just depends how long we're going to go. Great support today. Everybody, shout out to you, to the tier ones, to everybody tuning in for the first time. You're just a regular. I appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you hit that sub button here. I'm live Monday through Friday, depending on game days with the postseason, either 10 a.m. or noon. I think on game days, we're going to go live at noon. DC says here, job's not done. Job's not done. Definitely job's not done. Keep the foot on the pedal. I just like to bring up the mathematical advantage the Dodgers have now because in postseason history, all teams taking a 2-0 lead and a best of 5 have gone on to win 80 of 90 times. So, and now the biggest number here is in the 2-2-1 format, teams to win both games 1 and 2 on the road have advanced 16 of 18 times, and that includes 12 sweeps. So not only do they feel the starting pitching advantage is in their hands, they also have, the history to back that up.
They have another advantage too. They haven't lost a game when I've had a steak before the game. So Operation
Get Jacob a Steak is in full effect there. I need to get on that. So we'll go halvesies on that. We'll get a little
that'll work.
We'll get a little fun going on there. Send Jacob a ribeye, send Scott a ribeye, and then we'll go from there. Sounds good. Before we get into questions, I want to talk about this. I had one of TQT. If you're still in here, man, I want to bring up. I don't have the question that you exactly brought up here. But I was thinking about that all game. If you hadn't had a chance to watch the show yesterday, no sweat. This was a great question that was brought up in the middle of our show yesterday. He said this to the two loosely, if we got to the 4th inning of game 2 and there was no score, would you be more concerned or it was encouraged if you were a Dodger fan? And I thought that was really a great question because I said I'd be more worried if I was the Phillies. If you got to the 4th inning scoreless yesterday, and if as a Philly fan and the Phillies lineup, that you've seen the top 3 of your order for 13 innings of baseball do absolutely nothing to start the postseason. And the fact that they went all the way to the 8th inning yesterday without scoring a run, and you've seen the top part of your order go through 16 innings of baseball, even farther than that, do absolutely zero. I would say I'd be more concerned if I was a Phillies fan, because they've seen the top part do zero. Yeah. Nothing in there. They're expanding. They're chasing. They're not coming up in the big spots. Kyle Schwarber got an extra look at Blake Snell, and Blake Snell executed the game plan perfectly. So it has been the bottom part of their order to do all of the heavy lifting, Real Muto and down, Alec Bowman down. But Phillies fans, they're looking at the top part of that order, and their Phillies lineup, they have all the pressure on them right now. And we got through 16 innings, 17 innings of baseball, and I was like, well, damn. If I'm a Dodgers fan, I'm waiting for them to leave that door cracked open a little bit so we could break it down. We talked about that yesterday. The Dodgers are going to do it. It's just a matter of when. But the Phillies are out here. They're waiting for, when is this engine going to get going?
Yeah, I'm curious what intel Walker Buehler gave the Phillies, because it has not worked very well at all on the pitching staff, or really on the bats. They've been pretty good too, but honestly, if you're thinking like an individual game basis, like if we're putting game 2 in a bubble and saying nothing else, if it's tied after 4, what are you thinking? I would be a little concerned, just because I felt like they needed to get to Luzardo early. And I would take the Phillies bullpen over our bullpen, probably. Yep. That's not exactly how it's worked out. But with all the context, seeing what they did game 1, even I'm going to go a little further, what the Phillies have done in the playoffs the recent years, like last year against the Mets. If I was a Phillies fan seeing that, I would be very concerned. And it would be for good reason, because they are in a tough spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I totally get where you're at. So I thought that TQT, appreciate that question yesterday.
Question.
It was a really good question, because it was, the more I watched the game, I was like, we've seen this story with the Dodgers. And then you saw this story with the Padres, that the team goes in a very extended period, and you're like, this can't keep going on. And then it keeps going on. So after the 4th inning, I was like, it's still going on. The Dodgers still have them in the rocking chair, and they're not able to get that going. All right. We're going to start out with this one. Laura wants to know, why would the Phillies start Aaron Nola? It doesn't make sense. So right off the top, I think that, either a couple things. What's up, Laura? Good to see you. Either Ranger Suarez he has an injury, and that's why he hasn't appeared yet. He hasn't started a game yet, or he's not penciled in. Either that, or they're pulling. I saw someone bring it up, and I've thought about this for a couple years now. A Wade Miley 2018 Milwaukee Brewers type of moment. Yeah, where it stunned everybody. The bait and switch. So Aaron Nola has been very bad this year, and he's still got another, I think, 5 years or a couple of years left on his contract. A lot. I think he's got 5 more years left on his contract out there. They just signed him to that big extension. So Aaron Nola getting a start here, or being penciled in to start. What do you make of this for tomorrow? Tomorrow's game.
Yeah, I think it's what I said the Reds should have done in game 2. They kind of did it. I think Nola probably goes through the order one time. That way you get the lefties back to back. So it'll be Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Muncy. And then I think they go to Suarez after that. I was thinking the Reds would do that with Littell and Lodolo. That feels like it has to be the strategy. The problem with that is now you don't have a game 4 starter, but you have to get to game 4. So I would assume that's what they're doing. I think it's also kind of a track history thing. Like Aaron Nola has historically been really good for them. 6 ERA this year, so you can't really think about track history. I think it's all strategy, though. It also messes with the Dodgers' preparation, because they don't know exactly who is going to be pitching in bulk in game 3, so they kind of have to prepare for both. So I definitely think there's some gamesmanship here, just trying to throw the Dodgers off and steal one that they absolutely, obviously have to get.
Yeah. Richard says here, will Dave manage with a high sense of urgency to go for the kill tomorrow? He needs to use the big guns in game 3, keep the top of the Philly order in check, which is why they're up 2-0. I think Dave kind of has the memo now. I think he always has, but I think Dave Roberts just had a moment. I think he thought that was a good soft landing spot for Blake, because he needs to find, or he hope to find another righty he could trust out there, someone to bring back in. And I think that he felt it was the spot, like Jacob said earlier in the show, Rich, that was a spot that Blake Trinan, when he is right, or he is somewhat right, can get 3 righties out without a problem, or can at least get one, get 2, 1 gets on and get himself out of the damage. He felt that was a good spot, and Blake Trinan, when he can execute, can do it. It's just his stuff doesn't look good right now. Nick Castellanos has looked terrible for quite a long time, and he just throws a barrel out there. He legit threw the bat on a sweeper down low and got a double out of it. That's purely just putting the ball in play, and something good will happen. But the four-seam fastball up to Real Muto, stuff just doesn't look in a good spot right now. He looks completely out of whack. His spray pattern's all over the place. So it's just guys are kind of keyholing something. They're seeing the sweeper for a really long time. Rich, I think Dave has the memo. Go for the kill. We've talked about the off days. All the big guns are available. Everybody's available. With the off days, it doesn't matter. The back-to-backs, that's not a thing. So coming off another off day where you don't have to use everybody in extended work here, the starting pitching has thrown all quality starts so far. Everybody through the post. 4 games, all quality starts. When's the last time, Rich, we could talk about that? So everybody, I think, is going to be, available and there's nobody that's off limits here. And I think Dave Roberts has the memo now.
Yeah, as far as usage, the one thing I would say, if it gets past game 3, I don't think Sasaki would go game 3 and 4, just because he doesn't have experience that I know really out of the bullpen. That would be like 4 and 6. That would be kind of tough.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Dodgers won a World Series last year, partially because they punted games when they were up in the series, but they don't have to do that this year. They have Yoshinobu Yamamoto starting tomorrow. There's no reason they shouldn't be going all in, doing everything they can to win the game. There's just no reason to. Last year, game 3 was like, I guess Walker Buehler. So a game 4 would be like Landon Knack plus the bullpen. And that's just, they have a top 5 pitcher in baseball starting game 3. So there's no reason to not go all in. I think Dave will manage very aggressively, try to steal it in 3, and have your team set up for an NLCS.
I totally agree with you, man. Robert, here's real quick. He says, listening to Philly shows all day, all bummed. I would be too. This is
2023. Yeah.
I would be too. Definitely. You go out there, you've got head of steam here, second seed in the playoffs. Offense is churning on all cylinders here. I called it a battle of the Titans. I still think it is. I'll say it again. I said it before yesterday's game. When professional athletes with their back up against the wall and they see their season on the line, and this might be the Phillies are in their window, and they understand as a franchise they have to win. Like I said before yesterday's game, I wouldn't have been surprised if the Phillies found a way to win it yesterday. I won't be surprised if they go out and they win a ball game in LA. I won't, just because of the fact it has to be game 3. I won't be surprised because pressure makes diamonds, and they've got a lot of stars over there. So don't be surprised if someone does that. But it's how the Dodgers handled them in game 2, where I'm like, now they feel that it's just a tidal wave. It's a tidal wave. Your backs are really up against it. You've got to be perfect for 2 games to force a game 5. You've got to make that happen. And now the Dodgers feel they're feeling the juice. They've seen the blueprint 2 times, Jacob. You get deeper into a game, it's like somebody for the Phillies has got to get a swing. Somebody's got to get off the mat, and it hasn't been the big stars yet because the Dodgers pitching has handled them. So that's how I see it. But I'm going to keep letting everybody know that talent exists on other teams, and these guys are in those big spots for a reason. But right now, the Dodgers have a good blueprint about how to handle them, and that's why they haven't been able to let them get off the mat so far.
I mean, the fact is either of those 2 games could have gone another way if one of the Philly superstars had a big swing, and you're going to bet on the superstars to have big swings eventually. And that's just kind of the way it is. They have a very talented roster. Series isn't over by any means, but I love where the Dodgers are.
And that's why in that bottom of the 6th inning, Blake Snell, he goes out there, 6-pitch AB to Bryce Harper. He goes out 2-2 count, goes right back with another slider that, Bryce Harper had seen 3 prior times. Second pitch, 4. First pitch slider, second pitch slider, foul, third pitch slider, swing and a miss. Fourth pitch slider down away, gets a foul ball, curve in the dirt, changes the eye level a bit, changes shape, and then you go right back to a slider on a 2-2 count, gets a chase, 2 runners on, 1 out, and now you're sitting there and you feel pretty good. 2 outs, Alec Bohm up.
Yeah, that reminds me, because Bohm was the last out of Snell's start. I think Dave should probably get some flowers for leaving Snell out there, even for the righty, because I believe Trinan was up in the bullpen, and I figured they were going to go righty-righty matchup, and I mean, Bohm saw Trinan later in the game and got a hit. I kind of overlooked that. I knew he left him in, but with the context of how Trinan pitched and how Bohm got a hit on him, I think even with that, like there should be more credit, because that was a big call.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I'm not an Alec Bohm fan. I think he is incredibly overrated. The fact that he's batting cleanup does not make Philly fans probably feel good. I was totally good leaving him in, just for the fact that, 1, we've seen him do it before, and 2, I believe Blake Snell's stuff is better than what Alec Bohm can put out. Good pitching will always beat good hitting, and I felt that in that spot, 2 outs, Blake Snell was able to get enough bad contact. I would have lived with a different outcome, but I believe Blake Snell had a good handle on how to get him out prior. So I would have had no issues, even with, 2 missed fastballs there. Alec Bohm was going to say he's going to go back in the zone because that's what Blake Snell has done prior. You're rarely going to see Blake Snell go 2-0 and then just give up on an at bat. That's just not what he does. So he gets a chase on a changeup down, great pitch, get out of the inning, no problem.
And I mean, Bohm bailed him out, like 2-0, and you swing at a pitch in the dirt. But I mean, that's just good pitching. The hitter, he's going to chase. He thought he was seeing a fastball, and instead he was seeing a fantastic changeup.
TQT with another great question here. He says, do they think they continue subbing Muncy and Will Smith mid-game? If tomorrow, so Max Muncy, I would believe, it just depends. Are the Dodgers going to buy into it? They're going to put Max Muncy in, and I would say leave him there for a full thing. I think that to give him a game, if I'm going to go with the fact that Rob Thompson, I believe, is going to pull Aaron Nola fairly quick. Depends on how the game script plays out there. It's similar to what they did with Zach Lytle with the Cincinnati Reds and Terry Francona. It just depends on how it goes through the first time through the order. But I believe Max Muncy will be in the starting lineup. I would say so. But with Will Smith, they're trying to ease him back into action. I think they start Rortvedt and then they bring Will Smith in mid-game. I think that's a great piece for Dave Roberts. Give Rortvedt 1 AB, give him a couple times through, depending if you need the offense there. He's still getting himself eased in. But Will Smith has said that he feels 100%. He said he feels good, but it's just protecting him from himself. And I know Blake Williams has been, pretty big on that even though Will Smith said he feels 100, you want to protect him from himself there. Don't get this out of the gate too fast. But TQT, I know I said I would be surprised, or I would kind of go with they're going to sub him in. But if Will Smith feels good, they might just, put him in the starting lineup. But I like starting Benny Rortvedt and going from there.
Yeah, and I actually wanted to bring this up earlier. Someone said something about Dave saying Will Smith starts game 3. If it were me, I'd probably start Rortvedt. I think he'll get an at-bat against Nola, and then the second that Ranger Suarez comes in the game, you put Will Smith in, and then you have Will Smith's bat in the 9 hole to flip the lineup over and get those big hits after those guys get on. If the Dodgers were down 2-0, I think Will Smith starts tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Again, it's not like some people probably would think that's like not playing with a sense of urgency. I just think it's worked so far. Rortvedt can give you he's a great defensive catcher. He can give you a bunt, something you need in the bottom of the order. Just protect Will Smith, like you said, a little longer. I think they go with a typical lineup they've shown against righties, which is the Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Muncy, and try to get to Nola early. He's a guy who takes a little bit of time to settle in the game sometimes. And if you know he's going to give you, or if you know you're going to see him in the first inning, why not have him see at least 2, maybe 3 lefties right then and make him get some guys out.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. JY says this: will Jacob have 2 steaks instead of 1 before each game to be safe? Nah, JY, we said you're sending 1. You're gonna Venmo or Apple Pay stuff to him, and then meat. That's how we've already talked about this.
I don't think my cholesterol can handle that. a lot of red meat already. 2 steaks before a game would be tough.
Yeah. So JY, however you want to do that. Yeah. We'll make sure to get, ribeye to him, ribeye to me. And
We'll
then
get
we'll
in
be in good shape.
contact.
Yeah.
We'll make things happen.
We'll make that happen. Yeah. We'll make that happen. Get that thing on a cast iron. We'll be good to go there. Yeah. All business. All right, everybody. I think we're good to go. I think that's all right. Jacob, I'm going to let you get out of here, man. I appreciate you a bunch. Everybody say shout out to Jacob. Appreciate you, man. Joining us as always, Jacob Brownson. He's a dog. It's great to have him on here. Terrific on social media there. Has a ton of insightful stuff. The meme quality has been off the charts this postseason. As always, baseball IQ from you. I always appreciate it. Good insight there and really getting in depth on the pitching side and just, in general. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Absolutely. All right. We'll talk later, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Bye-bye. All right, everybody. Woo, jump scare. Everybody, great show today. Great show today. I'll take a few more questions, but it's great to have Jacob on. He's the man. Everybody, thanks for, warm welcome there. We'll be expecting those steaks, so we'll keep you tabs on there. We'll be expecting them. It's going to be a good time. So if you have a few more questions, if not, I'm going to let you guys all get out of here. Enjoy your off day. Dodgers 2 up there. I know we've got some Major League Baseball around, American League action there. Detroit Tigers, Seattle Mariners, both locked at 1 apiece, and the New York Yankees are chasing 2. They're down 2-0 in their series with the Toronto Blue Jays. They look not so good there. They look like they're getting flooded. Yeah. So if anybody's got some more questions here, Back-to-Back wants to know how often can Emmett Sheehan pitch? Can he go 2 of 3 days for 1 to 2 innings like Roki? I think so. I think he can. Oh, great. Thank you for bringing that up. What did we talk about after Emmett Sheehan's first outing? Like I went on and I was saying, I loved what he had. I loved his stuff. I thought it was more about process. It was the process. It was about getting good in the mental headspace, getting prepared for that mentally, getting prepared for it physically. He warmed up for a long time before he came into that game. He warmed up the night prior. So I didn't like how that played out. And that's why I was confident if they went back to the well with him again, that he would execute. And he showed, big ball stuff against Kyle Schwarber. He really did against Bryce Harper. So I was very impressed with Emmett Sheehan. I can't say that enough. Emmett Sheehan coming in there looking electric. He could have finished the game. And that's why I believe that he could have stayed in and taken care of business. So back-to-back, as far as, 2 of 3 days with the off day stuff, I think he can do it. Absolutely. I think so. I think he's in a good spot. He's a young kid. They can do it. I don't think they see him as starting at all. He's going to provide them length. He could have finished the game last night, made Dave's life very easy. But I think it's because he allowed a run. They're like, nah, let's change the look. Let's sit him down, give the Phillies a different look here. But yeah, that was incredible. I appreciate you bringing that up because everybody knows I'm a huge fan of Emmett Sheehan. It was process oriented. But he went back out there and looked amazing. He looked great. The swing by Kepler, slider down and in, catches a little bit, just a good swing on that thing. Andy Paez plays that like Aaron Judge and right, lets it roll right by him. Tough stuff. Third base, gets him on third with a triple. That's unfortunate. But yeah, he understood the part of the preparation, got it down, wasn't scared, and he attacked. Everybody should be impressed by what Emmett Sheehan had. Just beautiful deal there. Enough can't be said. Thank you. I can't believe I went an hour without hyping up Emmett Sheehan, who is spectacular. That was great. Gets Schwarber on a foul tip there. Yeah, let's look at this AB. 5th pitch, he goes 97.6 on the hands, foul tip. What do you got? What do you got, Emmett? And then Harper, 5-pitch AB, change. Probably gets away with one there, but, gets him out. Fly ball center field. Good stuff. That was really good stuff. Cool. David, he says, does it feel like we should do what the Nationals did in 2019 and rely on 2 to 3 out of the bullpen, maybe blowouts to give others a chance to fix it? I mean, we can say that Dave's going to do that, and we'd hope, but even in the blowouts, he still goes to Alex Vesia in the 10-2 ball game, goes there. So I think Dave has a list right now, and he tried to give Treinen that spot. I think they're going to reevaluate after the series and see really who's got it and who doesn't and who he can trust. And that's why, it's going to be interesting. He's got to figure it out. You just asked the question, David. He's got to figure it out, but it's going to be the starters. It's going to be all hands on deck. We talked about this. Johnny Holstaff, man. It's just how it goes. It's just how it goes. They're in that spot. Everybody's got to be available. And with the off days right now, everybody's available. Get through this battle of the Titans here, reevaluate, recharge the pitching, figure out what you want to do there. And where the hell is Tanner Scott? Where the hell is Tanner Scott on this roster? Where's Blake? Like, where is he? What's he up to? What's he doing? I know you don't have to use him, but where is he at? I'm not saying you know force him into a game, but I know he's there. But what's the purpose? What spot is he going to use him in? In a blog game, he didn't even do that. Peculiar, weird stuff. Let's see. Yeah, people forgot about him, but that's great. Aaron Vaughn, yeah, Dodgers pulled a Celtic pride on Tanner Scott. Man, elite movie. If you've never seen that movie, it's an elite flick. All right. I'm approaching territory of Blake. Mr. Blake Williams is going to tell me I'm yapping too long, and he's going to say, hour 10, Scott, shake my head. Let's see. Back-to-back Nogue says, what's your favorite AB from one of our pitchers last night? It's got to be the Bryce Harper AB with Blake Snell. It's got to be that one. That or Emmett Sheehan to Kyle Schwarber. One of the two. I would say Blake Snell to Bryce Harper. I would say that. Just because you're out there and you've got, he goes bottom six. Blake Snell gets Otto Kemp Decay, who he had in a blender, walks Trey Turner, walks Kyle Schwarber. Bryce Harper, he gets to punch with one out on 6th pitch of the AB and stays stubborn out there and gets the strikeout, and then he gets Alec Boehm. So it probably has to be from Tanner Scott, the Bryce Harper AB, and then Emmett Sheehan, the Kyle Schwarber AB. Man, yeah, get me juiced. Talking good pitching, I'm all in. All right. You guys are funny. Tanner Scott's handcuffed to the bullpen fence. Where's Boston Blake? Recovering. He's recovering. He had a hell of a show last night. If you didn't have a chance to tune into the post game last night, my good buddy Blake Williams, Big Blake, he's a beast. He did a great job last night. Him and Daniel Starkan, great support on there. Everybody's been super supportive of the channel. We've been growing. If you're tuning in for the first time, it takes no time to sub. It takes no time to hit the notification bell, everything. We're here live Monday through Friday. And we've been putting out great work. So Blake did a great job there. It's always fun to be out there with him on there. I'm glad I pushed him to do these shows. It's really allowed him to, be himself. He's a great guy. Blake's a beast. Bucket hat Blake. So it's good here. We've been putting out great content, giving everybody a platform for the fans. And that's what you guys deserve. You guys deserve a good place to be informed, have a good place to air your stuff out, have some laughs, talk ball. So that's what you're doing. Blake loves the spotlight. He hates the spotlight. He told me he was gassed. But yeah, Dodger Blue, the #1 independent Dodgers news channel. No scandals, no AI, nothing. We're all business here, all fun. We've got it all. Great cast of hosts, great cast of personalities. As good as it gets. The grass is greener over here. It's terrific. It's terrific to have everybody, be fans of the channel. You're the best, giving everybody a spot. Okay, I'm done yapping. We're at the 109 mark. Everybody, outside of a late second Hail Mary super chat, I'm out. But as always, my name is Scott Geirman. I appreciate you all tuning in to DodgerHeads Unplugged. To the tier ones, you're the best. Matt Moreno is officially on the losing end of his 2-0 thing here. He took the Phillies in 5 and tried to backtrack. People don't forget. But everybody, you're the best. We'll talk to you tomorrow. I will see you tomorrow. I think we're going to go live. We're going to go live at noon. So I'll see you then. Tomorrow at noon, we're going to have a live tonight. But tomorrow I will see you at noon on DodgerHeads Unplugged. My name is Scott Geirman. I've got the best chat. You guys are the best. And we'll talk to you all tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Until I can't say it anymore. Dodgers are up 2-0 in the Phillies. Go Dodgers.